Welcome to the dark corner of true crime, where we unravel the mysteries behind the headlines. This is Maura Murray. She disappeared the evening of February 9th, 2004. Maura was born May 4th, 1982, in Massachusetts. She had two brothers and two sisters. She was known for being very kind-hearted. She graduated high school and went to the prestigious U.S. Military Academy at West Point. During her second year there, she decided to transfer to the University of Massachusetts to pursue nursing. On the morning of February 9, 2004, Maura submitted her nursing homework electronically, and she then reported to her professors that she will be out of school due to a death in the family. She then placed a call to an owner of a condo in New Hampshire, a condo that she has been to multiple times. She packed a bag that included toiletries, makeup, workout attire, school books, and extra clothes. She then headed to New Hampshire. Around 7:27 p.m., a resident of Haverhill, New Hampshire, called the police and stated that there had been an accident near her home and that the car was stuck in a ditch. A little while after, a bus driver drove by and spoke with Maura. He also offered to help and even asked to call the cops. She declined and said that she had already called AAA. The guy knew that there is no cell service in the area, so he went home and called the cops. He lived about 100 yards away from the accident. When the officer arrived, Maura was not at the scene. Now, let's dive a little deeper. About 3 months before her disappearance, November 2003, Maura admitted to using a stolen credit card to order food from different restaurants. She was charged, and the charges continued in December to be dismissed after 3 months of good behavior. Later on February 5th, 2004, while she was at work as a security officer on campus, Maura spoke with her older sister Kathleen about relationship problems with her fiancé. Around 10:30 p.m. that night, while still at work, her coworker reported that she broke down in tears. Her supervisor said that she was completely zoned out, no reaction at all. On Saturday, February 7, 2004, Maura's father arrived at her school. They went car shopping that afternoon. Later, they went to dinner. Maura dropped her father off to his hotel and returned back to school. She then attended a dorm party. She arrived at 10:30 p.m. She left the party at about 2:30 a.m. Sunday the 8th, 2004. At 3:30 a.m., she headed back to her dad's motel and struck a guardrail on Route 9 in Hadley, which cost about $10,000 in damages to her dad's car. An officer arrived on the scene and wrote an accident report, but there was no documentation of a field sobriety test. Maura was then driven to her dad's motel and stayed in his room the rest of the morning. At around 4:49 a.m., there was a call made from Maura's dad's phone to Maura's boyfriend. Later Sunday morning, Maura's dad learned that the insurance company would cover the damages that was caused to the car. Around midnight, Monday, February 9th, 2004, Maura went on her personal computer to search MapQuest on directions to Berkshire and Burlington, Vermont. The first person she contacted that day was her boyfriend. She emailed him, and the email read, "I love you, Morstead. I got your messages. I didn't feel like talking too much. I promise to call you today, though. Love you, Maura. After that is when she called the condo, but the owner did not rent the condo to her, and the call lasted about 3 minutes. Around 2:05 p.m. that day, she called another number, which provided information about hotels in Stowe, Vermont. That call lasted 5 minutes. At 2:18 p.m., she called her boyfriend and left a voicemail that pretty much said she would talk to him later. Around 3:30 p.m., Maura drove off campus in her black 1996 Saturn sedan. Her classes were canceled due to a snowstorm. Later on, at around 3:40 p.m., Maura was seen on a closed-circuit footage showing her at an ATM, and no one else was with her. She withdrew $280, which was almost all of her money in her account. She also stopped at a liquor store and bought about $40 worth of liquor. After that, she headed north to New Hampshire. She didn't tell anyone where she was going. Shortly around 7:27 p.m. that night, a resident heard a loud sound, and they contacted the police because they saw a car in a ditch. A little while longer, a bus driver came by and he asked her if she needed any help or if he can call the police, and she said that she had already contacted AAA. The bus driver knew that there was no cell service in that area. The bus driver lived about 100 yards away from the accident, so when he arrived at home, he called the cops. He made that call at about 7:42 p.m. The cops asked if she appeared injured, and the bus driver replied and said no. She looked a little shaken, but definitely not injured. He said the airbags were not deployed and that he saw no blood. Now remember, the cops arrived on the scene at 7:46 p.m. The First Lady made the call around 7:27 p.m. The bus driver made the call at 7:42 p.m. The police arrived on the scene at 7:46 p.m. and Maura was gone. When the officer arrived, they noticed that the car had been locked and there was a box of red wine behind the driver's seat. The police also noticed there were stains on the door and the ceiling. In her car, they found her AAA card, gloves, compact disc, makeup, jewelry, drive-in directions to Burlington, Vermont. She also had a few stuffed animals, a book titled Not Without Pearl. It's a book about mountain climbing. It's reported that the officer asked for assistance from the bus driver to help locate Maura. So they suggested that they drive west of the accident scene. There was also a state trooper that responded to the call and helped with the search. The fire department and EMS did come, but there was no one to be treated at the scene. The bus driver's brief interaction with Maura was the last sighting of her. Since then, there has been no trace of her and no activity on her cell phone or bank account. At 12 p.m. the next day, authorities officially declared Maura as missing, almost 24 hours after her confirmed sighting. Later, when her dorm room was searched by campus police, they discovered that most of her belongings were packed and the art on her walls were removed. This was not clear whether or not she packed before or on that day that she went missing. On top of the boxes was the letter that she wrote to her boyfriend. On February 11th, her dad arrived in Haverhill to begin searching. A tracking dog tracked the scent from one of Maura's gloves, 100 yards east from where the car was found, but lost scent. As the dog's lost scent, the police suggested that she must have gotten into another car. 10 days later, the FBI joined the search and started an investigation. At some point during the search, Maura's sister found a pair of ripped white underwear lying in the snow. But after DNA results, and on February 26, it found out it was not a match. Again in 2006, volunteers led a 2-day search within a few miles of the accident. In the closet of an A-frame house, approximately 1 mile from the crash site, dogs went bonkers. So a sample of the carpet was given to the NH State Police. The results were not released to the public. In 2009, Maura's case was given to the NH Cold Case Division, and authorities said they are handling it as a suspicious missing person case. What are your theories, or what did I miss from this case? I would love to know more. Here are some Reddit answers. One user said, I think Maura walked down the road to seek a cell signal and could not find one, and while doing that, accepted a ride from a wrong person and was likely abducted and unalived, and likely her remains are somewhere in the woods. That was always my theory, but I assumed she would not hitch, but was forcibly taken against her will. But after hearing media pressure and her family saying that she actually was very trusted, I think even more likely that that is what happened. If that is not the scenario, then my next theory is that she was afraid of being handed a DWI, which I'm assuming is a DUI, on the top of all the other bad things happening, and possibly ran into the woods and had a medical event that led to unalive. Someone else said, I think people tend to overthink things and let their minds run wild. She likely ran from the crash scene and succumbed to the elements, and they haven't found her yet. With animal activity, it's likely they won't ever find her. 3 months ago, someone said, I think she ran away and is still alive.